I understand. Sometimes you feel stuck and do not know how to move further. Even it happened to me, especially when you are between 5 to 7 years of experience and wants to go to the senior role. You do not know what are the things that you have to learn, what are the skills that you have to possess, what are the areas that you have to focus. Moreover, you are fearful about going for a senior role. You are fearful about facing an interview for a senior role and fearful about you do not know so many things in piping design. All these things will put you under a state of confusion. Not only that, it will stop you from taking any progressive steps towards the life. So you will continue your current job for longer period of time without realizing the fact that you are losing your time. But by the time you realize it, it will be too late. That's one of the reasons I wanted to share my experience and the approach that I have taken in order to handle those situations to help you to understand what you can do better in order to handle those situations. Even it happened to me, not once or twice, multiple times at different stages of life. So I could see that this will keep on repeating in your life. All you have to do is that you should know how to handle it. That's it. Especially when I was between 5 to 8 years of experience, when I decided to move from intermediate level to the senior level, I do not know what are the things that I have to learn, what are the skills that I have to possess. I was also under a state of confusion and fear. But one thing that I always believed in my life is that if I do some certain practices, certain preparedness, I will be able to learn anything in life. It could be a skill, it could be a sport, or whatever be it. If you do some preparations and start learning in a right directions, you will be learned that. It is only a matter of a time. If you are good in observation, you will be learned faster. If you are not good in observation, you will take time. But still, you will be able to learn that particular skill. So this is the one thing that I strongly believe. So I did some couple of things constructively. Then I was able to learn those things which is required for a senior engineering role. That is how I was able to move from an intermediate level to the senior engineering role. It was not at all an easy transition. It was extremely hard for me because I was not academically so good. I was an average candidate in academics. So it took a lot of time for me in order to learn any particular skill. But I strongly believe that yes, over time I will be able to learn. So that is why I wanted to share that experience with you so that you will also able to apply this in your life. One of the most important things that you have to observe over here is why is it happening only for certain group of people and why is it not happening for other group of people? Is it anything written in the world saying that only certain group of people has to face the struggle and other people should not face the struggle? Is there anything so? Nothing like that. But there will be some key difference between what these progressive people are doing and the non-progressing people. What is the difference? One of the main difference between non-progressing and the progressing people is non-progressing people has so much of fear than their preparedness. But progressing people has lesser fear, but their preparedness is much more higher than their fear. This is the key difference. So what it states is if you do a certain preparation in a right directions in a constructive manner, you will be able to learn any skill, irrespective of whichever discipline, whichever engineering field, whichever domain you are, you will be able to learn. That is what very important. So now let me tell you how you can make this transition from an intermediate level to the senior level. One of my most common practice when I wanted to change from any particular role to another role is I wanted to know what are the things that I have to learn, what are the skills that I have to focus, what are the technical areas where I have to improve. So if I understand what are the areas that I have to improve, then it's easy for me to identify the source of learning. But if you do not know what are the things that I have to learn, then it's not easy for you to identify the source. So you cannot blindly believe on some institute or some course to learn something, right? You should know what you have to learn at first and then you find the right resource, right institutes, right person to learn. So my first step always whenever I wanted to transfer myself from one particular role to another role is identify the key areas that I wanted to improve. How to identify the key areas? So one of the simple thing that I generally do is that I used to go through a lot of job requirements from the job portals. For example, if I wanted to move to a senior level, I used to browse in Naukri.coms or Google for the similar role and to for the similar role to know about the job requirements. So if I take 10 similar roles, I'll be able to list out the job requirements of these companies. Then I used to check what are the things that I already know and what are the areas that I have wanted to learn. So when I list out the areas which I wanted to learn in a simple Excel sheet that I could say, then I need to find the right resource, right? So the first thing is that preparing the Excel sheet where I need to have a list of requirements where I need to have an improvement. What I wanted to learn, what are the areas that I do not know, and what are the things that industry is expecting which is not there with me. So these are the things, the first step that you have. When you have a list of requirements with you about what you wanted to learn, then it's all about finding the right institutes and the sources from where you can learn these skills or whatever that you wanted to learn. But one thing you have to understand here is, in order to learn something, you can follow only two simple methods. One is either you can buy a course from the right source, or you can learn from the experienced person who is already working in that particular field. So please note, you have to buy a course from the right source. Nowadays, there are a lot of people are selling a course who are not at all into a particular discipline or the domain, but still they are selling the course in order to make money. So it's, if you are serious about learning something, you have to buy the course from the people who are already into that particular domain, or the people who are already working in that particular area. And also, if you wanted to learn directly as a one-on-one training from any particular experienced person, you have to know that whether these people are already working or already they have a working experience in that particular field or not. These are the only ways. Learning from book is another method, but if you are at the stage of 5 to 8 years of experience or 5 to 7 years of experience, I won't recommend you from learning the books, because here you need a practical experience in order to move from an intermediate level to the senior level. That is why I always prefer to choose any particular course from the right source, or you learn from the experienced person by taking a one-on-one training. So the first, you prepared the list of requirements about what you wanted to learn, and second thing, you found an institute and the source from where you can learn, and the third important thing is building a discipline. What is building a discipline is about? Building a discipline is nothing but dedicating a fixed time in a day in order to learn these skills, prepare these skills, revise these skills continuously until you get a confidence in that particular skill. You have to fix a particular time in a day, at whatever be the reason. It could be a holiday, it could be a weekend, or whatever be it. You have to ensure that you are available in a particular fixed time in order to revise it, in order to study the piping design, in order to improve this particular skill. That is how you can build it. That is known as building a discipline. Until and unless you don't have the discipline, it's not easy for you to build a particular skill or learn a particular skill. And the last stage is, you should not quit from your decision. If you have decided to move from one level to another level, you should keep continuing, and you should continue your try. Because for some it takes in 6 months, and for some others it takes nearly around a year. And for me, it took nearly 2 years to get into the senior role. So you should not fix a particular time. You should keep trying, keep improvising, have a good discipline. You will be able to get into the senior role. Please note that the moment you stop trying is the moment that you are so closer to the opportunity. So I believe that the information that I have shared in this particular video will help you to understand how you have to handle the situations when you feel that you are stuck and you do not know how to move further. I will meet you in another fantastic video. Until then, bye from Subhash Chandra.